Hi, I'm Bretton,
And I'm Dan.
and we're localmovers.com, and we're going to talk to you real quick about other potential areas you can move aside from the retail consumer. What are some of the areas where a guy who's entrepreneurial and looking to get some extra jobs fit in could look to expand his repertoire of things that he moves?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great opportunity for folks to get into business-to-business moves, working with, in the industrial space, maybe labs, different equipment, specialty equipment. And these are going to be higher value in terms of what the customer's willing to pay, but the expectations are higher. Look within the network. You can go to the kind of plant and operation managers within the businesses, cold call them, go around to the various businesses and say, are you moving anything? But just planting the seed, hey, we're a mover, and building that relationship early might get you that job later. And that really unlocks a lot of contract value that you're not going to get in the smaller moves. It might be multiple days, much larger crews, but much bigger contract. And so that's something you really want to get into.
Yeah, the hourly rate could be as much as 1.5 to 2 times higher per labor hour for doing those types of moves. And we talked about pounding the pavement. Property managers in the residential space, still on the B2B side, not higher value, but definitely potentially more volume. And property managers in the commercial space, and even office managers can be a great resource. Maybe just having a relationship or friendship with the office manager, staying in touch with them, or maybe they have a bunch of extra stuff. A lot of offices do have like a conference room where they're pushing some old chairs and stuff that they want to get rid of. You can offer to do those small services for them at a very reasonable rate to get the ball rolling so that you're there when they have to do bigger stuff. These are kind of a longer play type of opportunity, but there's real cash there. And the great thing is the companies pretty much always pay. With the customers, you try and get the money right there straight away. But if you put them on a payment plan, for example, and sometimes it makes sense to finance a $5,000 move for someone who can't pay it all in one go, you got to sort that out. But, the offices, they might pay net 30. So 30 days after the job is done, they might pay net 60. But you know that you're going to get paid. It's very unlikely that the business is going to stiff you on the bill. You should be trying to sprinkle in diversification into your business. Probably in the first 6 months, it makes a lot of sense to just focus on those residentials, try and get moved more from the local moves to those higher value interstate moves as your first step. But then as you move to these other things, even for the B2B relationship, you might do relocations, which is residential moving, but it's through the company. So it's B2B to C, as we call it, business to the consumer. There's a lot of opportunity in the space, but like you said, you have to look at what stage you are in the business. And as you have any time to layer those things in, always be thinking about your business, always be growing it. This is a hustle, it's a grind, but we saw this many times. There are no shortcuts, there's no easy ways. But I would say anytime you have the opportunity to do more business development and outreach and grow, you should, and keep your business diversified. There's no one size fits all or right or wrong answer. But like you said, these jobs are going to pay maybe over time. So you have to wait and you're going to be out cash. And you got to be in a position where you've got enough money in your bank account to pay the guys and the employees. And if you're providing storage for them, pay the storage facility fees for that time period. Because you don't want to undercut yourself by taking a job you can't handle properly and then hurting your business or potentially creating a lot of friction and stress for the customer. So you just got to be ready, I think, for that position in your business.
Yeah, and I think just to add on that a little bit, this is a key opportunity in your business and business to business to differentiate your business. Sometimes you'll be able to find a niche that maybe you didn't know existed in the moving world that you are just uniquely specialized to
Like
do.
art moving or chemical moving, which is a hazmat category. Those two are specialty where we've seen movers.
Exactly. And those will be higher margins, less competition, right? You might be the only game in town, only game in your county. And so everybody's going to call you when you get that move. And so you can really kind of build a good moat around that and differentiate yourself.
Let's talk about one more thing that I know you have a lot of experience in with respect to this business to business sales process. What exactly is an RFP and how does it come into play in this kind of process?
So RFP is a request for proposal. And that is something that big enterprise customers are going to ask you for. They might also ask you for an RFQ, which is a request for a quote. And that's just, and so instead of being on the phone and giving them, usually it's a more formal process. And that kind of goes back to the invoicing. They're going to want potentially like you to send them a quote. Then they're going to want a formal invoice. They're going to send you a purchase order. And that's essentially like a kind of a contract or authorization, probably be a contract like literally on the same page. And so these are just how businesses do things. It's a little bit more sophisticated than the customer. Contract value is usually higher. So there are terms to these contracts. You can learn all about these at localmovers.com/academy. And we even have at localmovers.com/AI pre-written templates or prompts that'll allow you to generate your own RFP or RFQs that maybe you have never done one before, but you need to do one. You have the information, you can put it into this prompt, and it
Yep.
will spit you one out that's super professional.
I think it's a very exciting space, the kind of B2B2C or the commercial contract space, and how it can work. And there's a lot of details on it. But just from a high level, while we wrap up here, what do you think are the main takeaways that guys should think about as they consider whether they should even look into this space and how they can start just dipping their toes in the water, dabbling in it, and maybe getting some potential leads even on their sniffing some leads out on their radar?
Yeah, and I think when you're building your network, talking to real estate agents, you also want to start to talk to commercial real estate agents early, right? Don't just say, "Hey, I don't do the business side." Be open to it. And you might get pulled in on one of these, Craigslist or TaskRabbit. They might pull you in. You might end up at a commercial job. And so when you're there, understand the process. What's different about this? Do you meet somebody? There might be an opportunity to meet the building manager while you're there. Of course, if you're working for somebody else, you don't want to be handing out your business card, but be tactful about it. Be super polite. Maybe you can come back the week later, ask them what they're doing. And then I think there's a good opportunity in the business to business contract to identify recurring revenue, right? And then just fostering and developing that relationship because those businesses are constantly going to be moving people in and out
Absolutely.
of your area. And so that's different than just maybe moving a lab that might not be like a lot of lab space, but I would be open to the opportunities and find what you enjoy doing. If you
Yep.
really like doing the lab part or an office where you've got to like connect all the computers and move one site to the next and make sure everything's perfect and you really enjoy that type of work, double down on it, try to find more jobs, and document it well. Again, taking pictures where you can to showcase that on your website and put that on in your website so that when somebody's using an AI search or they're using a Google search, they see, okay, yeah, this person is proficient in office moves, they move labs, all these different things will get you additional jobs.
You always have to be thinking these creative ways to kind of slither your way into the new opportunities that you didn't know the pathway into originally. Just
Yeah.
part of being an entrepreneur.
And just to close that out, I think B2B is all about the network and relationships. So in business to business relationships, it's often less about the price and more about the person understanding the quality that you do. It's like, yeah, Bretton, he charges me more to do the moves, but I've been working with him for 5 years. I'm buddies with him. We go we golf together a bit. He takes me out, buys me lunch or something like that. That's the type of work and networking that you're going to have to do and business development you're going to have to do. That's not what you're going to be doing in the residential moves. You really want to build these relationships, but they'll keep coming back over 5-10 years because you're just end up being the go-to mover for them.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great summary. Thanks for that, Dan. And let's get moving.